What's up, gang? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Janette. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. If you are a returning subscriber, I appreciate you for trusting me with your content. But if this is your first time joining me, make sure if you like the message that you don't forget to click on that subscribe button and also click on the notification bell. That way you never miss an episode of anything that I do here. Today we're going to talk a little bit about how important it is to do your own research when it comes to anything in your life. If you're interested in hearing more about that, make sure you stick around till the end of the video. Let's go ahead and hop into it.
Money, grab the camera, I'll say cheese. What am I supposed to do? When my life look like my pictures do. What? He still ain't posted you. Come let me show you what you supposed to do. Go, boss up on that dude. Go show these niggas they can't F with you. Look what you made me do. I gotta show you how real I'm.
So first off, I want to say I have tried to film this video twice already, okay? The first time I completely got through the whole video only to go back on my phone and realize it was not filming even though the flash was flashing the whole time. And then the second time it just wouldn't film. So here we are, third time. I'm gonna definitely try to get this message out. I know a lot of people will see you disappear, see you not be active for a certain period of time and assume that you're gonna stop doing something, but it couldn't be further from the truth. At the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with stopping, starting, because eventually you'll continue and you'll never stop until you get to the finish line. So I don't want you to ever underestimate a person who just takes some time to themselves. You never know what the story is. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to allow the enemy to stop me from getting any messages out, period. So the enemy thought he won because my phone, literally, I'm staring at the flashes like I am right now. So hopefully it is filming. This is season 2 of y'all tuning in, so we're going to do things a little differently. So no matter what the message is, I'm going to make every attempt to get it out. So today's message again is about research. It's very important to do research in all facets of your life. One thing about me is I'd rather be right than be accepted. And I know a lot of people can kind of relate to that, but a lot of people cannot, because some people seek acceptance so bad because they never grew up with it and they haven't come to terms with those childhood traumas. So they don't care about being right. They're just going to go with whatever the popular vote is. And it's important now more than ever to get your own mind, to create your own identity, to form your own opinion of things, because at the end of the day, followers are only going to go as far as the person leading them allows them to, whereas a leader is going to go as far as they want to go because they're leading the show. Experience is the best teacher, so I can't tell you how to feel, but I'm letting you know, once you become a person who does their own research regarding things and you become right all the time, you will realize how fulfilling a life like that is, to really almost never be wrong. And when you're wrong, it's okay to admit that you're wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, because at the end of the day, we want to not make knowledge or getting knowledge or gaining knowledge something that should be frowned upon. We want to get more knowledge. You should never stop learning. If you do stop learning, then you're probably brain dead, because at the end of the day, all of us can take something from one another. Now, there's certain areas in your life where you're going to want to do more research than not do research, okay? For instance, with job opportunities or following your dreams and following your goals and ambitions, you want to do your own research instead of taking another person's word for what's going on, or just following what social media is saying about a certain thing, because you could miss out on a blessing, or worse, you could fall into a trap. I relocated late last year and I got a new job opportunity. And during my time in training for this job, I made it a point to gain as much knowledge as I could, because I like to stand out in that way. I like to stand out in a way where people seek me out for certain pieces of information because they weren't paying attention, or they weren't able to grasp the concept and things like that. But I like to use my brain more now than ever. I remember being younger and not wanting to do research or look things up or read a book and stuff like that, because I'm like, I don't have the brain capacity. That's literally what I was thinking. I'm like, I don't have the brain capacity. Like, there's so many things I gotta go over and live with throughout the day that there's no way I could take on this extra information. I don't know if my brain is vast enough. But what I realize is when you take a piece of information, your brain is just going to keep expanding, and there's no limits to what you can learn. So it's not hard to become an expert on a topic, but the people in my training class didn't really see that. Like, say for instance, we play a game in order to see who learned or who took in the information before a test or something like that to continue with the job. You would hear people like, because I was always number one, I'm always going to be a winner because I learned more than you. I know I did. I took in more. I paid more attention. I'm going to observe it more. And that's just who I am as a person. And there's nothing wrong with that. But people will hate on you for becoming an expert at what you do. And I never understood that. But I've had like one particular girl, she'd be like, oh, I heard her in the classroom. She's like, I hate her. I hate her. She gets on my effing nerves. And I was like, what was that? Who said that? But I knew who it was, but nobody spoke up, of course, because people don't like to stand on what they think or what they feel, right? People don't like to stand on principle or you know, what is everybody saying right now? People don't like to stand on business, okay? So she didn't say anything, but I heard it clear as day, and I just could not understand. I had to go talk to God after because I was going to blow up, but I had to go talk to God. Like, I don't understand why this person is so upset because I'm right. Why does it bother you that I'm right all the time? And then, but you know, that can kind of be a gift and a curse, because when you're right all the time, you encounter a lot of people that try to disprove you a lot, or people who want to humble you a lot because they don't like the fact that they can't be like you. You know, they'll never admit that to themselves, but it's a gift and a curse, honestly. But I'd rather be right and endure that type of mental warfare and things like that, and be able to recognize it and pick it out, because I know things and I did research on these types of people, and I understand that these things do happen in real life. I'd rather be that person than being a person who is blind to it, or who nobody cares about, or people who don't think. That's not a bad thing to think about a person like, oh, this person is right all the time. And I try to do it in a non-know-it-all way, you know, because at the end of the day, I don't know it all. I only know what I look up. But it's important to do research, not only on jobs and opportunities and you know, things like that, because you can find yourself in these crazy situations. Like, say you're going to go chase a dream, right? And you go, you know, where everybody moves to chase a dream, and you find yourself getting in all kind of crazy situations, when if you would have did the research, you would understand what happens when you go to these types of places, and you would have kind of prevented yourself from experiencing that kind of thing. But it's important to also make sure you do research on the people that you allow to come in and out of your life. What we find a lot is that the world is small. You know, it's not that big. Like, you can run into people who know people, and you find yourself having to have these conversations with people about someone you just met, and then they tell you like, oh, don't trust this person's no good, I hate this person, I saw this person do this, I saw this person do that, I know this about this person, I heard this about this person, because they don't want you to try to get to know that person, or they jealous that person did not give them any attention, or any kind of reason they could come up with in their own mind to justify telling you lies about a person. They could kind of block your blessing and say that person was maybe your soulmate, or say that person had a job opportunity for you, or say that person could have been an asset to something you're doing. You missed out on building that bond or that relationship because of another person's word for it. Now, I've encountered that a lot in my life, you know, and I see it on a main stage right now, because every time you get on social media, what are they talking about? Politics. What is one candidate doing to the other? I feel like one candidate is telling the truth about the other one, and the other candidate, I feel like, is spewing lies. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm going to vote for a person who has beliefs and values that align with my beliefs and values. I'm going to, of course, vote for the candidate who is praising God, as opposed to a candidate who doesn't put a name on who they serve. I'm going to be more apt to vote for a person based off their policies and what policies affect me in my everyday life, as opposed to a candidate who has policies that don't really affect me as a person, because I don't deal with those types of struggles, or I don't have those types of issues, or I don't believe in those types of things. So I wouldn't be able to even form that kind of thought process on voting if I hadn't done some research, because I remember it being 4 years ago, and the race going on, and people talking about like, oh, don't vote for this person, and they're racist, and they're this and that. You know, I ended up voting for, I'm not going to lie to y'all, I voted for Kanye in the last election. That's who I had. He talked about God, and I was a believer, and that's all I went with. So I did not vote for the current president, and I did not vote for the former president. I voted for Kanye. He didn't make it, but that's fine. My vote still counted, right? It just didn't go where I thought it was going to go. But at the end of the day, I participated. I took a stance on what I believed in. And I find these days that people are going with the popular vote. People are going with other people's opinions. People are not only grouping us together based on skin color, they are grouping us together. It's really about skin color at the end of the day. That's all I can come up with, actually. You know, it's really all about skin color. And what I see so much, reverse racism. And I hate even saying that because, honestly, I believe black people can't be racist. We went through too much. Like, I don't believe black people can be racist. But at the end of the day, I did kind of like see, I saw a video actually where a girl was on like a podcast and she was telling the host that she was going to be voting for a certain president because of their skin color. And he said, well, what kind of policies does she have? Like, what does she believe in? What is she going to change? What is she going to do? She said, I don't know. She said, I don't know. I'm only voting for her because, damn, I done let it out who I'm talking about. She's only voted for this person because of their gender, and she's only voted for this person because of their skin color. And that's the scariest thing to me, that people don't do their own research to find out, like, wow, what is this person going to change or put into effect when they get into office, as opposed to taking another person's word for how the other candidate is. It's important to do your own research. That is how you create your own reality. When you get knowledge and information, it can kind of create a spark in you and cause you to take action. From there, the action that you take, it can mold your reality. And at the end of the day, we are all in our own worlds. Like, I see life from my point of view. I let you into my point of view through Janique TV because we're on the same. I let you into my channel, which is how I see the world right now. But we want to make sure that we are being informed voters, if nothing else. And that's just a prime example about not taking people's word for it when it comes to people that you're going to have in your life. Because at the end of the day, whoever we choose as a president is going to be involved in our everyday lives. So I need people to be aware and be informed and do their own research. A Google search takes no time at all. And you know what's crazy about a Google search is you could search something up and it'll give you a piece of information that creates another question for you that leads you to another piece of information. And you'll keep having these questions and you'll keep looking for answers. And then you find yourself deep down in a rabbit hole, but it's not a bad thing. In that rabbit hole or down through that rabbit hole, you have consumed so much information that now you have talking points. Now you have knowledge to pass along to other people and then create seeds and spark seeds and plant seeds for them to do their own research. Now, that's what life is all about anyway. Seeds are being planted in us all day. We see advertisements for certain things. We see music artists that are promoted and trying to get us and influence us to make certain decisions. People plant seeds in us all day. We don't want to admit it, but that's all that's happening on social media. We're taking in seeds all day. You know, a lot of people don't even realize they're being influenced. They really don't. But look, I'm here to influence you the right way today. The last thing we should be really like doing our own research on is when it comes to God. You know, I think about all the time how I grew up in the church and I really didn't learn anything about God. Everything I learned was really misinformation. And I can't really blame entirely the church because at the end of the day, I take responsibilities for my own action. I take responsibility for not taking the extra steps to get extra knowledge throughout my childhood. But at the end of the day, things happen when they're supposed to happen. But I didn't realize how much I didn't know about God until I tried to do my own research and I got to consume all of this information. It started off with a 30-day Bible guide. With that 30-day Bible guide, I thought it would give me enough information to know everything about God. Oh, no, how wrong I was. It really just gave me dates, times, names, places, books, key characters in the Bible. It really did not teach me anything about God for real. Honestly, it was just kind of giving me a guide. you know, but it created a question in me that I had to answer, and the only way I was able to answer it is by going through the actual Bible itself. So it did lead me somewhere. But what's crazy about getting knowledge is that's how it works. Like, you'll get a piece of knowledge and it'll lead you somewhere else. And that's what I love about learning. I really hate seeing people be wrong all day. Like, it really bothers me. It can I know I'm firm in my beliefs, so it doesn't really affect me too much, but people who don't know anything or people who are easily impressionable can take the misinformation that's being provided out into the world and run with it. And that's what I see happening a lot. Our people are extremely misinformed, and if we don't get on the same page about, you know, being informed in all facets of our lives, then we're gonna go nowhere fast. I want to see other generations come through. I don't want the world to really end with us. So, of course I got some scriptures to back up what I'm saying, because you know what? I find that the Bible can be incorporated into all areas of your life. You know, that's what the Bible stands for. Basic, let me put it right here. Basic instructions before leaving earth. So this is where you get the information from, okay? And hopefully these verses plant seeds in you today. First verse I have is going to be Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I reject you for being a priest to me. And since you have forgotten the law of your God, I will also forget your children. God is saying right here that lacking knowledge can destroy you. You know what destroy means? Like, you're no longer there. Like, it can literally destroy you. Now, God says because you reject knowledge, he rejects you from being a priest to him. And a priest really is a leader, someone who can kind of intercede on your behalf for God. So how are you going to intercede on another person's behalf if they need a prayer, or if they feel like God is missing in their life, or they're scared to come to God after something? How are you going to intercede on their behalf if you lack knowledge? You can't. That's why God's saying he will reject you, okay? Reject you if you reject the knowledge. He also says, if you forget the law, I will forget your children. This is how serious knowledge is. Like, that, it can literally mean life or death, but it also impacts those under you. At the end of the day, and I remember back in the day, things were passed down from generation to generation, but I found that it was nothing but misinformation. Like, you really got to go do the research yourself, because if the person who is teaching you doesn't know anything themselves, then you're going nowhere fast. Now, next verse is James 1:5. Now, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. God is really saying here, if you lack wisdom, ask him. He will give it to you. No problem at all. And that's the cool thing about prayer. Prayer is a conversation with God. You can have this conversation with God and ask him for that wisdom that you seek, and ask him for knowledge and understanding, and believe that it's done. That's what the Bible says about prayer. Believe and it's done. We see countless stories in the Bible about people who, and I call Jesus Yeshua. I call him by his name. When Yeshua was traveling around, and he'd encounter people who simply believed in his message, and they were healed because of their beliefs. So this is what it says here. Ask God for what you want. Believe it, and it's going to be done. You'll immediately notice a difference. And if you have that belief that it was already done because you prayed for it, then you'll find yourself in a world of being able to consume the knowledge you need to consume to be informed. Now, it says here in Isaiah 11:2, the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom, understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, and the Spirit of knowledge and fear of the Lord. God says when you ask for these things, you get all of these in one. This is what the Spirit comes with. And that's what it is essentially. Wisdom is a spirit. Like, you either have a wise spirit or you have the spirit of a fool. And lastly, I have Ecclesiastes 7:12. For the protection of wisdom is like the protection of money. And the advantage of knowledge is that wisdom preserves the life of him who has it. God says the person with wisdom preserves their life. How crazy is that? Just by getting another spirit, you could preserve your life. You could live longer. Imagine the people who pass on a daily basis from foolish things, foolish decisions. Imagine if they had the knowledge or the spirit of wisdom, where they'd be today. They'd still be with us. God says the protection of wisdom is like the protection of money. You know how with money you can go buy security, you can buy all kind of things. You could buy a super secure house. You could buy all kind of things to protect you physically, right? If you had the money. But people who don't have money or have the means to hire security and everything like that, because I know we all would. I don't know about y'all, but if I had it, I definitely have a security guard. Period. Like, why are you talking to me? Like, handle them. Get them, Bruce. Like, I have one. But since I don't have the means to do that, I have to rely on the protection of God, essentially, right? The spirit of wisdom allows me to move in a strategic way, because every day we hear about these stories where people are getting unalived, of course. People are getting into all kind of crazy situations. But what do you think is the difference between me and them? What do you think is the difference between you and them? We all leave our house throughout the day. We all go somewhere. We all take a risk and leave home. Heck, some people at home have the danger come to them. You understand what I'm saying? So this spirit is what protects me. This spirit allows me to live in a certain way where I'm not putting myself in danger, putting myself at risk to experience these negative things that a lot of people experience here in life, in the physical reality. So that's how important wisdom is. It's more important now than ever to do your own research on all topics, right? When God gives you the knowledge, once you get knowledge, period, but when God allows you to be privy to knowledge, when he gives you a revelation, when he allows you to open your eyes and see the truth of what something is, at the end of the day, you can't go back. Once you have the information, you can't go back. I say this all the time. I can't go back to the old me if I try, because I have so much knowledge that it's impossible for me to change my mind about what's going on. So I hope you understand how important it is to do your own research, even when it comes to what I say, right? I'm not perfect. I'm a human being at the end of the day. And, don't just take my word for something. I'm only here to plant the seed. Once I plant the seed, it's up to you to water it and watch it grow into something else. So do your own research. I hope you got something from my message today. If you did, make sure you check out some of my other messages here. I'll see you in the next video. Janique here, Janique TV. Peace.